guys, I'm Angharad and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where for this week's video I thought I would do a little Prague recommendations, bit of a Prague roundup, starting from the beginning with flights. So we paid £337, we flew with Ryanair just because it was kind of the cheapest we could find, and we ended up flying from Manchester. Now East Midlands is so much closer, but I feel like nowhere flies from East Midlands apart from Spain. I mean, that and Ireland, to be fair. Every time we go to Marbella with the girls, we always fly from East Midlands, but every time Ben and I have been away, it's always had to be Manchester. I do believe price-wise, if we'd booked earlier, we could have got them cheaper. So it was a fairly last-minute price, which I don't think is horrendous, but it was such a weird experience. So my suitcase, I had the 10 kg suitcase in priority, and then Ben just had a small rucksack because he's a boy and just doesn't need that many clothes. Although I do respect that there are some guys out there that take their outfits when they go away very seriously. But my boyfriend, he just manages to have a few items and coordinates all of his outfits, so I just leave it to him. I'm there with my case. But anyway, I have used this suitcase on every trip I've ever been on, whether it's Marbella, Poland, Prague now, and I've never had any problems with Ryanair at all. And then this time we were queuing up and we did the dreaded, didn't make eye contact the whole time, but somehow they found us. They found me and they told me to put my suitcase in the metal thing. You know what I mean, guys, you know what I mean. And they claimed that it didn't fit, but I'm sorry it did. And I mean, thankfully they were nice about it and they still let me on the flight. But I don't understand, unless their measurements have got smaller. So now I'm in the predicament of, I've got Ibiza in May, do I get a new suitcase? Do I risk the one that I've been taking? But I don't want another small suitcase, guys, do you get what I mean? Oh, so that was a stress and a half. So beware of Ryanair, even though my suitcase is Ryanair approved and I've always used it on Ryanair flights. They might be stricter this year. Don't know why. Accommodation wise, we stayed in an Airbnb rather than a hotel just because of price. Ben and I tend to prefer an apartment or our own space anyway, and that's the same whether we're in the UK or abroad. I definitely feel like our next trip we'd like to do a hotel, just out of sheer convenience. You feel looked after, don't you? Whereas in your own space, you've got to accommodate for yourself. But the location was perfect of our Airbnb. It was on the same street as the Shrink Spa, which I will speak about later on in the video. Hint, hint, it was a 10 out of 10. So yeah, the location was perfect. We were about a 15-minute walk from everything, which was so ideal. We literally did not use public transport at all, but I'll talk about that later on as well. The host was also so nice. He was so good at communicating every issue that I had or question. He answered it straight away, which was so good, because you do hear some horror stories, don't you, of hosts just flatly ignoring you, and I don't want to think about it. I don't want to bring that bad energy for future hosts. But yeah, our host was so lovely. It was a very secure apartment. We had about 4 keys to get in, which you feel safe then, don't you? So it was overall a studio, so it was fairly small, but you know what, it did the job. We had a little kitchen area if we needed it. We didn't this time, but I do maintain it's always good to have anyway. The bathroom was gorgeous, beautiful lighting, and then we just had a double bed and a TV then for us to watch Netflix, which we are avid night watchers of TV. So to have all of that and it actually working, may I add, because the amount of times we've been away and someone claims they have Netflix and then you go on and it doesn't work, but it did actually work, which was so nice. Only complaint was the duvet and the pillow situation. Very bizarre, I know, but our pillows were cushions and not proper pillows. Now Ben suffers quite badly with his neck and his back, so due to the fact that he was sleeping on cushions the whole trip, bless him, his back and his neck were just in so much pain. And also our duvet was split, 2 duvets vertically, so your body was covered and then your feet were covered. Now I could have messaged the host, I do agree with this, before anybody else says anything, but I didn't. I felt like it was a really bizarre thing to say. I didn't want to offend him or anything, but the sleeping arrangement was definitely quite bad, if I'm honest, and that would be the main reason we wouldn't return. Now, I didn't look at the specific reviews asking about the bedroom situation. I might actually do that now and see if anybody else mentioned it. I mean, people are saying the bed was comfortable. That I do not agree with. Which, again, I feel really bad for saying. Nobody else has mentioned this, so maybe it was just a fluke. Maybe this is something I should leave a review for. But I just, like I said, guys, I feel bad. I feel bad for mentioning questionably quite a bizarre thing. But yeah, that's the accommodation roundup. So transport wise, we used Bolt or we walked. I saw this all over TikTok saying do not use Uber, do not use normal taxis, use Bolt. We ended up paying £20 to the airport and back, which was amazing. It was about a 30-ish minute journey, and I even checked this on Uber myself before booking the Bolt, and it came out at about £40 or £50, and we paid 20. Let that sink in. I couldn't quite believe it because I saw everybody online saying, but you know, when you do have to check stuff out for yourself, and that is exactly what happened. So I would 1,000,000% recommend Bolt. And again with the zoo, we only paid £5 there and back. The cars were clean, they were comfy, the drivers were fine, there was no issue whatsoever. They picked us up really quickly so we didn't have to wait long. We didn't use the public transport, and I have seen loads of people online saying that the transport system is great. We just didn't feel a need to. Arrived super late, so I didn't really want to be getting on a tram. And to the zoo, we didn't think really of doing it, and like I said, our apartment was in walking distance of everything, so we either walked, or if we did need to go further out, aka the zoo, we just used a Bolt. Now on to food, guys, in Prague. Quite a rogue suggestion, but Czech Republic McDonald's. Highly rate. Their coffee was fantastic. Now I love my coffee, and I thought their coffee was fantastic. It was so strong. It was the cappuccino type of consistency for a latte. The milk was so thick, and oh, their coffee was amazing. You know, I still think about the McDonald's coffee, and I really miss it. I also did these loaded fries with cheese and bacon. They were amazing. Oh, it was so good. And then Ben had these little pastries with the coffee one morning, which were gorgeous. Pasta Fresca was where we went on our first full day. I'd seen beautiful reviews for this place. Fresh pasta, Italian. Ben and I love Italian. We both love carbonara like there's no flipping tomorrow. And it lived up to expectation completely. The food was stunning. It was so fresh. I had seafood pasta and I had prawns for starter. And then Ben had this beef olive oil type situation as his starter, and then he had a carbonara which he said was fantastic, and it did look it, to be fair. I would definitely recommend pre-booking, because when we did get there was a massive queue, but I booked all of our dinner reses, so didn't have to worry about that. So I would definitely say pre-book. The staff were just rude, guys. Now I don't know whether it's Ben and I coming across as rude, which I don't think that's the case, but it was the same when we went to Krakow as well. The staff were just very standoffish, because I asked for the Wi-Fi password because it's underground and you've got no signal whatsoever, and the woman was she was very reluctant to give it to me. Now I don't think I was coming across rude. Maybe I did offend her in some way, and I feel really bad if that was the case, but I don't think I did. But just very rude stuff, so I would bear that in mind. A place we went to for lunch was called Me Sushi. It was in the same shopping centre as Levels, which I will talk about further on as well. And the food court there looked amazing. There was everything. They had frozen yogurt, they had Wingstop, they had loads of other things to choose from. And Ben and I we love a good little food court, we can't lie. And we came across this place, Me Sushi, or My Sushi, and you paid £20 for all you can eat, and I have never had such fresh food in a food courty type of place. It was honestly fantastic. We had rice, noodles, there was sushi, I had prawns, and they came unpeeled, which did scare me at first. It gave me Ibiza 2021 trauma, which was quite stressful, of having to peel them. But oh my goodness, stunning. But again, rude staff. So weird. I don't know why Ben and I have this problem whenever we go away. It's so bizarre. But the food made up for it. Just like in pasta fresca, the food made up for it. So if you want cheap and just you're starving and you can genuinely eat a ton, because Ben and I, we eat a ridiculous amount. We ended up having, no joke, we ended up having about 19 dishes between the two of us. Which, bearing in mind guys, they were quite small, but that is a lot of food, isn't it? But all I'll say is it filled us up, and for the money that we paid, you can't really complain about it, can you? The other place we went to was Isaac's Barbecue. Now this was actually opposite where we were staying, and we were going to go to another steak restaurant on the day of our anniversary, but we just weren't feeling it. We couldn't be bothered to trek because it was about a 10 or a 15-minute walk, whereas Isaac's was just opposite. We walked in, the staff were amazing. We had the nicest waitress, she was so funny, and she recommended so many dishes to us. The cocktails, which was so good by the way, all homemade, new recipes, not just your classics, and we had this massive meat board, and it was steak, chicken thigh, oh what was the other meat, and ribs I want to say, and we had mac and cheese, sweet potato fries, all the dips. Oh guys, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I feel like it's a place that I have not seen online. So if you want a place that isn't overhyped or isn't a massive recommendation on TikTok, because I feel like when you go to the touristy TikTok places, they don't always live up to expectation. The queues can be disgustingly long, whereas I feel like Ben and I had the right balance between going to places that we'd seen online and then finding our own as well. Staff, food, value for money, everything spot on. Activity wise, we went to a place called Levels. Now this was in a shopping centre which was super easy to get to. It was about 10 or a 15-minute walk from where we were staying, and it's a giant arcade. They had mini golf there, they had all your old arcade games, kind of giving NQ64 on steroids. In Manchester, if you've ever been, that is such a fun place. It was the perfect date night place. They had a massive bar in the middle, the cocktails were stunning. Ben had a Mai Tai, I had an Aperol, really strong by the way, which was lovely. We also played Mario Kart, basketball, endless games. We spent so long in there. They have a cute ticket system, you put all your tickets together and you can win a prize. So Ben and I will definitely go back. It was about £10 per person, which was amazing value for money, and because it was so cold in Prague, it was the perfect place to go to in the evening to just spend a couple of hours. The place we went to was the Anonymous Shrink Bar, which was recommended by a friend of ours who had heard amazing things. I don't think they ended up going, but they recommended it so highly to us, and it was on the same street as our apartment, so of course we had to go. What an experience, guys, oh my goodness. So you get to the bar and then you have to go through a door, you're greeted by someone and there's like a little buzzer to press, and then you go downstairs, you're all in the dark. There's only a handful of tables, which I loved, so it physically couldn't get busy, but the vibes were there, guys. What a beautiful date night place. You were greeted by the most theatrical staff who was so lovely, and you get given 10 images which resonates with you the most, and then they make you a drink based on that. And there's a couple of clues on the back. They will also ask you if there's any flavours you're not massively keen on. I'm not a massive whiskey cocktail lover, and I can't remember what Ben said, but they hit the nail on the head. They made us cocktails that we just absolutely loved, and we sat there for ages. It was the weirdest thing though, I couldn't book a table for 2 of us, but I could book a table for 4, which actually worked out in our favour perfectly, because we ended up in the corner on these 2 sofas. We had plenty of room, we were in the corner kind of away from everyone, and we just sat for ages and just sipped our drinks, and I would go back in a heartbeat. I would honestly recommend to anyone, if you want a really fun experience in Prague, go to the Shrinks Bar. Now, places to go and things to see. One of the things I loved about Prague was the majority of it was free. There was so much to see. So we saw the castle, all the churches, the architecture was just divine. The colour of the stone, oh my goodness, it was the most perfect neutral shade. The town square, the astronomical clock, it's all free. We walked the Charles Bridge, the Mains Bridge. There was the rotating head, the dancing house. We actually passed the dancing house about 4 times in a taxi, which was so fun because we saw it on the night we were heading to our apartment, so we already ticked something off. But I felt like we timed everything really well as well. We got up at about 8ish. We were out by about 9, had a bit of breakfast, so 9:30, 10, which I suppose in a way, is it a bit late? I don't know, but by the time we'd finished walking the Charles Bridge, it was getting so busy. So I feel like we timed it really well, which was a complete fluke. But I love that the majority of stuff to see was free, because I feel like you can go to some cities and to see everything you've got to pay a fortune to. Whereas it was nice, we did so much walking, we saw everything we wanted to. And the only things we paid for was Prague Zoo, which cost us £10 each, and it was just the perfect day out. We did this on our anniversary and we got there at about 10, we finished at about 3. It was amazing. The zoo wasn't too busy, the animals were amazing, I got the most perfect videos. It was just nuts. We booked our tickets on Get Your Guide, which were great. We booked them on the morning, so you don't have to sort of pre-book. But saying that, it was nice to already have our tickets when we get there, so we could just scan our QR code and get in. So weather-wise, guys, it was absolutely freezing. It was -5 to -7 every day, so layers were essential. I didn't end up bringing my North Face, which in hindsight, I don't know why I didn't. It's the jacket made for that kind of weather, but I ended up bringing my fur coat, which was from River Island, and I just lived in this. I felt like a chic queen the whole time of the trip, and it was really fun to dress in something pretty different for me. So layers are everything. I also would love to go to a city like that in the summer. I feel like your rooftop bars and your parks and everything would be amazing, but to go in the winter was something special as well. And we were also so blessed with the blue skies, the sunshine the whole time. The videos I got would not have been as amazing if it wasn't for the fact that we had sunshine. Yes, it was freezing, but I would take the freezing cold over rain or dark grey clouds. So I'm very thankful to the weather gods up there for giving the most beautiful weather. Overall, I would recommend Prague completely. I would say have some form of a plan, but not too much. I had a list of tourist things that I wanted to see, and I kind of made a route based on that, which was really good for the first day. We went from Sunday night to Wednesday afternoon, and I feel like that was the perfect time. I feel like if we'd had any longer, we wouldn't have had enough to do. Maybe that's just my opinion, but I feel like day 1 was just seeing all the sights. Day 2 was the zoo. We went to a few bars in the evening, nice dinners each night, and we just had the perfect balance. And in the afternoon as well, we also got a couple of hours to just sit in the apartment and just chill, which was really nice. Ben and I need a bit of a battery recharge on our trips. We can't just be constantly go, go, go. Otherwise we both get quite overwhelmed and then I just end up having a fat nap. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Prague, guys, if you are thinking of going. If you want to check out my vlog, like I said down below, give it a thumbs up and also give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please comment them down below and I will answer them. And yeah, I hope you liked my little Prague roundup. I definitely think this is going to be something I'll do after every trip, because I feel like it's good for me to look back on as well if I was going back to that city and I needed a bit of a head memory recall of what I thought. I would definitely go back to this video. Yeah guys, I will see you in my next video, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. See you later, bye.